Gabi, Philippines.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hotline.
Magandang gabi.
Long
Yeah.
time, no. I know you heard your
Nice to
voice.
see
Very
Pastor
good.
Pedido, Pastor Harold,
Yes,
and
I'm
Pastor
sorry.
Sam.
About,
How are you all
eh,
doing?
Luis, nabi na pang bata tagos.
Uh,
well, I'm good because I'm good. I understand the network is very good.
okay. Um, we are going to deal with mobilizing the youth for mission or for ministry, because we've talked about the children and we've talked about the women participation in mission, and we've talked about evangelism to Muslim, and then mobilizing and motivating women. But I just discovered that there is a need for us to work on, because if we don't work on the youth, our tomorrow for our churches will be void. So it is very, very important that we need to do something on that. And that is what I'm going to do to present with us today. And if we look at it in every section of our community, of our country, we will discover that youth comprise a larger percentage of our population. Youth comprise a larger percentage of our population. And then there are some basic facts about this youth. And I have about 5 points I'm just going to give us. And number one, there are plenty of youths. There are plenty of youth. Number two, their number is growing. The youth numbers is growing. And number three, sorry, Chokomayo, Number three, they can be mobilized, or they can be mobilized for mission. And number four, they can do something. They can do something. And number five, their outcome is usually based on inputs. Their outcome is usually based on input. And that is the area that in most of our mission program or evangelism, we don't even talk about them. We talk about Gen Z generation in our context here, that the Gen Z generation is about the youth, the modern youth that we have, the language of the youth, the action of the youth, and the thinking of the youth. And the same thing also, we need to look at it, that the language, the action, and other things that is connected with the youth for evangelism in our context here. But I'll be emphasizing more on the outcome of their input. Now, let's look at 1 Samuel chapter 17. When the Israelites fought against the Philistines, King Saul assembled his best army, including the brothers of David, who was youngest and left to watch his father's sheep. One morning, David visited the battlefield to bring food for his brothers. While there, he noticed several things. David. David noticed several things. And one of the things he noticed, number one, there was a large army. You know, when there is war, there will be a large army. And number two, there was a giant that was defying God. There was a giant that was defying God. And the giant name was Goliath. And number three, all men of Israel were dreadfully terrified. And that is verse 24. You see, they were terrified because of the giants. And King Saul, he has assembled all his best armies, but still they were afraid. David's first-hand experience changed his mindset, and action for he saw the situation was not just about strength, about age, qualification, and strategy anymore, but about a cause. So David developed a passion greater than glory, riches, tax exemption, even wife. That is verse 25 to 27. His boldness was based not on Goliath's challenge, but on the truth. No one should defy God. David stood against his brother's insults, against enemy intimidation, and against people's disbelief. David was doing here, he was a youth. David was a youth that they said, you just be tending to our father's sheep, while the brothers, three of them went to the war. And he brought some things to the brothers, and that was what brought him to the war front. And he saw something that challenged his mind. Many of us, all in our churches, we don't count the youth as part of the evangelism team. We think the evangelism is just only for the adults to go and evangelize the youth, adults to go and evangelize the children, and others. But no, the youth to youth, they have their own language. They have the language, they have their senses, they have their own method that they can use to minister, to evangelize one another. So David, unwavering determination to get involved, and King Saul's recognition, authorization, and commendation. So David modeled that with God, and it caused everybody has a chance to make a difference. That is one of my points. The youth, they have a chance to make a difference in evangelism. If we have not been thinking about them for evangelism, that is only the adults that will go and evangelize the youth. No, we have to reverse it. We have to mobilize the youth also for evangelism. So he didn't pretend he was a recognize who he was, face the enemy, and effortlessly defeated him. In fact, anytime I read that particular passage, I felt some challenges in my own heart, that yes, with God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. If we are working for God, we should not be afraid of what we want to do for God. We should not be afraid of what we have in mind for God. So, if we look at verse 25, 26, and 27, you see, let me just read verse 25. Now, the Israelites had been saying, do you see how this man keeps coming out? That is Goliath. He comes out to defy Israel. He comes out to defy Israel. He, the king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his father's family from taxes in Israel. That was not motivation for David. David asked the men standing near him, what will be done for the man who killed this Philistine and remove this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? He should defy the army of the living God. They repeated to him what they had seen saying and told him, this is what will be done for the man who kills him. Now, if we look at verse 28, you will see that, well, his brother, they were thinking that he's a youth. What did he know? So when Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger at him and asked him, why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the desert? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle. You see how he was insulted by his brother without knowing the plan of God for him, without knowing that the youth in our society, they are also very important in carrying out or in doing the things of God for our own generation. So young people, when mobilized and trained, young people, when mobilized and trained, represents a tremendous resource for evangelism. A tremendous resource for evangelism. They have strength, they have speed and courage, along with the wisdom and input of their leaders, and in this evangelism. Those who train them so that they can be fervent for God. We see the recipe for growth. It is important for both young and old to maintain the spirit of partnership in the ministry or in doing evangelism. Partnership between the old and the young, because the young, they have the language of the youth in their mouth. The older people, they have the knowledge, the wisdom in which they can impart into the hearts of the young one. So it is good for a man to bear the yoke while he is young. Lamentation 3:27. What a wonderful declaration from the word of God. But so many times, the church, as a church, we do not recognize these statements. We think it is not good for them to bear the yoke while they are still young. That is, we should not bother them to know Christ. We should not bother them so that they can do evangelism for Christ. No. Many parents do not bring their youth to church. Many churches do not have a youth program. Many programs do not have youth involvement. And young people begin thinking church are for adults only. Evangelism are for adults only. And so youth are gone. I remember when I was discussing with Dr. Noel when he came back from the US or while he was in US about the church where he served. He said that church, there was no youth again in the church. And to him, that church did not have a future because when the older people pass on, then the door of the church will be closed. So he started to think on what to do, how to bring the youth to the church. And that was how he started. He said he started a football, soccer, something fellowship where the youth were coming gradually. So those are the things. If we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? When are we going to integrate them into the mission of Christ to bring more soul to Christ? When churches do not have any program for the youth involvement in mission, for the youth involvement in evangelism. On the contrary, the mobilization of youth opens the possibility of explosive growth in a local church, which eventually affects the expansion of church and growth of the church. The local growth lifts national growth. So mobilizing a local youth group is an enormous task, and it gets hard. And when youths are involved in evangelism at all levels, between the local, urban, rural, urban, cities, we will see the result of what is going to bring out. We will see the result, how the church will grow more faster. It will be result that, yes, there are commitments to it. It demands commitment and flexibility. It demands commitment and flexibility. It also involves intelligent recognition of identity, ideology, and potential, even mental and actual change. Organizers must understand this complexity. You see, I said their generation is Gen Z generation of the youth. Anybody that will lead them must think about them, must ask for the wisdom of God, must also be able to act, think like them, so that they can be more involved in what the task that we want to give to them. So we can also promote an exciting youth evangelism both at local and local in our own context and urban area. Mobilization of the leaders lessen the burden of our youth evangelism. So we need to understand that, yes, different areas, there are different approaches to in the rural areas and the youth in urban areas. Our approach to them for evangelism, for training them, will be different. Now, the the role of the officers, because there is a need to have expertise in the field of leadership and management. Leadership in the sense that leading the youth and managing the youth. Leaders in the areas of leading the youth and managing the youth. So with this, the mobilization of the youth can be more effective. But most of our churches had a good numbers of youth that we believe it was both strategic and vitally important. But the young leaders actively model youth evangelism, mobilization, and mentoring of these new youths to be the leaders, and also motivating these youth and maturing in their own individual lives. And that is the areas that we need to. A leader that will lead them, and somebody, a leader that can still manage the youth. So we can see that little, we still have much them. And there are several areas where we can make use of the youth. We can make worldview, we can make use of what they like to do. So with this, we can get more and more and more and more and more things that, yes, they can also be useful in our mission activities. So we need to recognize the youth, the contribution of the youth, and the place of the youth in the church. I will repeat again. We need to recognize the values of the youth, the contribution of the youth, and the place of the youth in the church. And we must make effort to reach out to them. We must make effort to reach out to the youth, and at the same time, we train them so that they can be more useful. So they will become our evangelism partners. Evangelism will grow in all church activities. Develop passion to reach their brothers and sisters, and even parents, to reach to their brothers. You see, when I look at some of our colleges in the Philippines, you see, we have thousands and thousands of them. And if we can mobilize youth from our church and those that they are of what and what to do, how to make use of them, of our youth in our churches where they are also studying. So it is very, very important. Many of these youth are now in our churches, but they grew spiritually, they also grew numerically. Make use of them. We can see that, yes, they can have one example in our secondary school here. We call it Baptist Student Fellowship, BSF. It was before its focus was in the colleges, universities, but now they discovered that we can start to catch them young while they were in secondary school before they enter the university. they have the experience, they have the taste of it. So in most of our secondary schools, there are some leaders that they visit the secondary school to mobilize them, bring them together, have a kind of fellowship with them. And this fellowship, they started in 2025, even up to 30, where they were meeting regularly, and later it started to be expanded. So we have every freedom to reach out to all our youth, because there are just too many for just only few people, few leaders that they were doing it. The work is too tight. The burden is too high. So if there are leaders who can train and mobilize the youth, then it will also be helpful. So we can speed up to reach out as we train our students to win soul. As we do what? As we train our students to win soul. So they can also start with their friends and classmates. They can start this evangelism to the youth with their friends and their classmates. So what a blessing if we can see our students, our youth carrying their Bible and sharing the gospel with other students during the the break time, and that does not stop them from their studying. As we used to tell our students, you see, serving God, following Christ, doing evangelism is not a means that, yes, you will not be able to concentrate. That gives you a strong platform so that you also put in more in your studies. So this is the challenges that I believe that, yes, we need to do. So some from in our colleges, we have many that we can reach out to them, and they can bring more soul for Christ. We see them, and to see they were useful for Christ. Our youth, they were getting more souls. So, for example, we got to have a kind of, as I said in the children evangelism, we have a club for them. We can create some kind of clubs where, because these youths, they needed something that will trigger them, that will mobilize them, that their interest will be aroused, and they can also see that they were being doing something great, that they can have some kind of enjoyment and other things there. We can have people like a picture taking club or nature taking club. So that all these things is something that is fascinating, but we have something in our mind we can also do to reach out to them and to see that, yes, Christ is with us in what we are doing. Let me give you one example. If we want to train them, servant leadership lifestyle, they were youth. So true biblical leadership has a more meaningful application in our context. So Christ's example of serving contrast with the lifestyle of something that want to show that they were big. I mean, somebody that want to train the youth must also come to their level of their understanding and their level that yes, they can see Christ in us and they can understand that yes, we are doing something great for God. So there are many things that we can start with them, and this can be a perfect growth and understanding for them. So doing this, we can bring more souls for Christ. And the burden that, yes, the church is only for the adults will be taken away. We can get them involved also in the church activities. And when we get them involved in the church activities, then they can also utilize the vision that God has put into them. So it is possible if we have a common understanding and our expression of what we want to achieve when we work together to have our youth also come into it. Our dream for our churches in the Philippines, in church planting, in our Christian education, to a bookstore and some other things, then it will help us to do more for Christ, and Christ will be happy to see us that yes, we are doing something great for Him. You know your context there. You know where you are staying, whether Visayas, Mindoro, Mindanao, whether Kidapawan, or whatsoever the areas where you find yourself. You have your own context. You have your own context of what you are doing, of what you can do to bring in the youth for mission. So we've talked about the children, and also we are talking about the youth. The adults, they are the one they were doing it much and more before. But let's come down to them. Even the word Jesus loves you is a powerful word that when they speak it to other people, because love is a powerful word, they would like to understand and they would like to see what and what is the meaning of Jesus loves us. Can I ask for if there are questions or clarifications to what I've been talking about? Hello, Pastor Harold, Pastor Pedido, and Pastor Sam. Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
We're
Yes,
here.
I want to hear your comments. Any questions?
No questions, sir.
Pastor Pedido? Hello? Pastor Sam, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. I don't have a question right now.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this question about the involvement of youth in evangelism in your own place. Let us hear the involvement of youth in evangelism in your own place. Or anyone that is ready can just to share something briefly with us. Are they really involved in mission?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think the youth is they are the future leaders of our not just the church but in sometimes in politics. They
Yes.
are they are the good future leaders.
Yes.
And I think if we don't have youth in the church, I think there's no you call that
No
alive.
future for the church. Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
You are
sir.
brother.
right.
Yes,
Yeah.
and in our church we have a program about the discipleship, also for the evangelism.
Okay. You see, discipleship is just like we want them to have the mind of Christ. For them to have the mind of Christ, the way to behave, the way to think about Christ. But mobilizing the youth for mission is another level. How do we arouse their interest for this task? Discipleship is of stages. The mind of Christ, following Christ, and there are several levels of discipleship that we are doing in our own context here. But still, we still need more in mobilizing and involvement of our youth in this mission. I remember when I was in Korea, the church where I was serving at that time, the the youth do not like coming to church because they believe that how can they just be together with their parents, and the services then are so boring for them, and they want something better. So my senior pastor at that time encouraged them to be coming, and he started a special worship service for them in the afternoon, that if they want to jump, dance, do everything. So, and got a pastor, a youth pastor for them, where he oversee what they were doing in their own worship time in the afternoon. Come and see when they started, just only few, but later it started to grow. They started to be increased in number. And that was how many of the youths, even from their friends, they were being brought to the church. You see, the Lord used that afternoon music praise to mobilize the youth for for the church, and they were able to be ministering to them so that their life can conform and they can also develop their love for Christ. We have our different contexts. What can we do to bring in more, or what can we do that our youth can be more useful for Christ? Thank you. Pastor Pedido.
Yes, sir. I'm in my part. So very exciting lecture, because some our my church is we start for discipleship, and
Okay.
then how to demobilize, or how the youth grow.
Okay.
The part of the youth involvement is the one step to recognize his talents and the
Yes.
potential. Then,
Yes.
so what we do, so you set the part of the involvement can develop their talents, or their potential. So that is
Yes.
part of the goal for one of the to lead as a youth leader our church.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Sam?
Yes, sir. um, in our church here in Kidapawan, uh, the involvement of youth in the ministry, uh, we develop we encourage the youth to participate all the activities for uh, especially activities for the youth so they become uh, they get more courage to be involved in the ministry and they will enjoy. So in that way, that was the start of their um, passion to be involved in that uh, ministry.
Yes, the
So
passion.
they can also
Mhm.
encourage more friends and uh, uh, if they can encourage more friends and they get them to the church. So that is the part of evangelism for the youth.
Okay. Thank you. I like one of the words that you use so that they can have more passion. That word passion is a powerful word because when there is a passion, they do more than our expectation. So I appreciate you what you have been your participation in our class, and my I love something very much, and that is the practical approach to whatever I'm teaching, because I don't really base on theory. I base on practical because practical bring more fruits. In fact, most of the question I'm setting for our postgraduates and most of the papers requirements I used to give to them is based on practical approach to some issues. If I may ask you some few questions now, if you have your course outline with you, of personal evangelism experience. How many of you have that one? Because I said the student will keep a journal of personal evangelism. How many of you have that one? Nobody.
I have. Yes, I have.
Uh,
Yes, yes.
Another one.
The person, what to call
How
that
many of
person?
you? Uh-huh. How many of you are able to post evangelical message every day through any of the social media for at least 2 weeks? How many of you have done that?
In my part, because I have uh, page in
Okay.
social media. So
Okay.
I will share the message in reflection to my
Okay.
social media account. And it's a part of the evangelism. It's a part of my simple way to share the message from God.
Okay. What about us, Pastor Sam?
Yes, sir. I also uh, post a message in my Facebook account about the message of Word of God, but it is not it's, it is not always
It's not
uh
always.
yeah.
Okay. Pastor Harold.
Yes, so sometimes some youth I bring to the other places. We got we have a dinner and snacks. So and we have conversations like that and share some word of God for them.
Okay. The third thing here is participate and report on a mission outreach of your church. So, how many of you have done that? That you participate and you have your report on a mission outreach of your church?
Yes,
Okay.
I have two outreach from my from the mother church in my assignment.
Okay.
Uh,
You see,
so
uh-huh.
we have I have activities in every Sundays. Um, and after the worship service here in the mother church, then I go to our outreach. So there's a part of to share the it's not only the my member. So some the here is friends of the members of our church in outreach is a part of my uh, community faith to share the gospel. This is outreach.
Okay. Okay. So,
Thank you.
my assignment for you, maybe I will just make it one by one. Maybe Pastor Pastor Sam,
Yeah.
I want you to write on evangelism to children. Evangelism to children. Your time paper will do that, will address that, and you bring it into your own context there.
Yes, sir.
That is the method, the styles, and approaches to children evangelism. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Okay.
I get it.
Pastor Pedido.
Yes, sir. I'm listening.
Pastor Pedido,
Apo.
I want you to write something on mobilizing and motivating women for mission. So that will be your own assignment. You write it into your own context. So whatever you are writing, write it into your own context so that it will be in future maybe something that you can refer to and later develop to be a kind of a journal or a materials to use for training them. Pastor Harold, I want you to write something on evangelism to Muslims in your own area.
Yes,
Evangelism to Muslim in your own area.
yes, sir.
So,
I like that.
uh-huh. I want you to put method, styles, and approaches. So you know your context very well. And what I would like to have the paper before March 5 so that I can read it in advance.
April 5.
April 5.
April 5. Sorry. April 5. April 5. I hope you understand that. How many of you watch my inaugural lecture?
I
Dr.
think
Noel.
everybody.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. We
Everybody watching.
Yes,
Oh.
everybody.
I think they also
But
did
some
some
they
kind
don't
of
understand.
replay on the YouTube channel.
Yes. It's there. It's on YouTube.
Yes,
Do
indeed.
you want me to send it again?
No, we
Yes.
got the channel. We already got the
Okay.
channel.
Okay. Thank you for watching.
Thank you,
Thank you
Dr.
very
Pretty
much.
awesome.
Good evening. God bless.
Very nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
If there is no other question, I think we need to call it a day today.
All right.
Thank you
Yeah.
for listening to me, and thank
Okay.
you for joining also.